We would be honored if you would join us. Dad?
Drop it!
Groovy.
This is Video Store Clerks. Welcome to the store.
Welcome back to the store, man. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Video Store Clerks Podcast. Tonight we'll be talking about Police Academy celebrating over 40 years. 40 years. What?
Crazy.
We are your clerks tonight. Who am I? I'm Chief Dave.
Lieutenant Chadman.
My name is Lieutenant Leisure, in case you missed it.
I'm Chuck. How's it going?
Chuck went through a lot to be here tonight, so we appreciate it.
Out on bail.
Oh, but yeah, we can't wait. Come on into the chat. Join us. This is going to be a fun night. We'll be talking about Police Academy, but as usual, we will start the program as we always do, and that is with the news.
No dude.
Move it, move it. You dickhead. You deliver the news.
This guy is probably close to 5 feet. Texas rat snakes are going to be one of the largest snakes that you find in the Metroplex area.
I love that clip.
What was that? Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Oh. Starting our news with the box office, the top box office over this past weekend. These are your domestic totals, your top 10 movies that people went to the theaters to go see.
No shit.
No shit.
All right.
Coming in at number 1 was The Fall Guy, bringing in $28 million. Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Jonathan Majors.
Coming in at number 2, we are in a time warp. We're going back to 1999, ladies and gentlemen, because Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the re-release came in at number 2, bringing in $8.7 million.
May the 4th be with you.
Crazy.
It's got to be Jar Jar.
Oh, it was just May the 4th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's why.
Number 3, Challengers. Number 4, Terra. Never heard of it.
I heard it was all right. I don't know much about it though. I just heard about it like 2 days ago.
Oh, it opened. It opened at number 4, so that's a bummer. Or we're struggling a little bit for now, but I think that's going to change soon. We got some good horror movies coming out this year, but anyway, Godzilla and Kong came in at number 5. It's still hanging in there. Civil War number 6. Some movie called Unsung Hero came in at number 7.
Oh, is that the movie about? Is that the movie about the guy that wrote the James Bond books? No.
Oh, I don't know.
Perhaps.
There's some movie about that. I can't remember what it's called. Some long title.
We don't know what half the movies are about. We just read off the list.
True. Continue.
And number 8, Kung Fu Panda 4 is still hanging in there. 9 weeks in, it's brought in $189 million. Not too bad. Number 9, Abigail, which I've heard a lot of good things about.
I started watching it last night. I can't wait to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it, but it's made $23 million 3 weeks in, so maybe word of mouth will bring in some more money. And wrapping up the top 10, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Still hanging out.
Still hanging out. This is probably its last weekend, but 7 weeks in, $110 million. That's not terrible, but for a Ghostbusters movie, you thought it'd be a little more. Nonetheless, there you have it.
There it is.
Boom.
And in other news, A24 has pulled the plug on the Friday the 13th prequel series Crystal Lake. It will no longer be happening. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to get a new Jason movie or series. I'd say a movie's the way to go, but we'll see.
I'm okay with a movie. I'll wait a little longer for a movie. I mean, I don't really give a fuck. That's what I said. I don't give a fuck about a prequel. Do we really need to see a poor kid tormented? I mean, like if you're talking about prequels, that's what they were talking about adding that all that shit. So yeah, we already know the story.
I mean, how do you even?
I don't think
do it?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, one thing we learned, like Alien, Halloween. Do we need the backstory, or do we just want to see the killer show up and start killing people?
That one. That one.
I just don't know how you do it if you're at the camp, because you can't have like his mother killing people already, because as soon as somebody dies, that they shut down the camp. You know, it's not like this was going on for years.
Well, I mean, she did kill those campers at the beginning of it, and then it goes to a couple years later. But,
and like my concern with the whole thing was that
how many years
were to do well. If it were to do well, that would mean for sure Freddy would be next, and we don't need a Freddy prequel at all.
We don't, for many reasons.
But anyway, in other news, the Masters of the Universe live-action movie is making the news again, this time with a release date. Director Travis, I believe it was June 2026, I think it was. Director Travis Knight's taking it. He directed the Bumblebee movie that came out a few years ago. But we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, my God, they've been talking about doing a live-action He-Man movie for decades now, and it still hasn't
Bumblebee
happened.
movie?
Yeah, that Transformers Bumblebee movie. When did that come out? 19-ish?
Bumblebee tuna?
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna.
In other news, Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh will square off in a new slasher film called Mickey versus Winnie.
Original.
The pair, Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh, will start a new horror film becoming convicts in a cursed forest. The pair eventually turn on each other, leading to a night of violence and gore as they terrorize a group of friends. It's not going to stop anytime soon, folks. So
awesome! I can't wait for it. Let's cool. I'm so excited about this.
Terrible.
And finally, we'll end the news on this note. And I'm not kidding. This is real. Nicolas Cage is set to star in a new horror film about a young Jesus Christ.
What?
Sold.
The carpenter's son will explore the life of a young Jesus Christ and his family as they face horrors both natural and divine. Nicolas Cage is set to star as Joseph. And The Carpenter's Son will be the title of the movie.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do this. There's so many great ideas out there floating around. I'm so glad that this is the one they're going with. All right, woo! We're on a roll here, folks.
I don't know, man.
Jesus
The last
fucking Christ.
I don't know how many Nick Cage movies were dope.
I mean, that's true. It could be really awesome. I mean, I don't. Whew. That's a plot.
I'm sold. I wonder who's going to play Jesus too. I will probably see
Jesus.
I like him.
Very
Kids,
That's it. So how about some good news this week for a change?
kids love him.
Yeah, please.
Oh, we're back.
I'm
So that's
for
good
it.
news.
Yeah,
We are back.
We're back.
Welcome back.
2-week hiatus. We're back.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the main event. We're talking about 1984's Police Academy. I love this movie.
Can't tell.
I was kind of curious about the budget and box office of all these movies. It's kind of predictable and surprising at the same time. But starting with the first one, it had a budget of $4.5 million. It brought in $149 million. Grossed $8.5 million in its opening weekend. Huge success.
Huge.
Obviously, it spawned a million sequels that I guess we'll touch on a little bit. But gentlemen, go ahead. I feel like I'm running my mouth. What are some of your memories of these? Well, let's start with the original, but like I said, I'm sure the sequels will come up.
I can't really remember much of it. I can't really remember much of the sequels. I only was able to like get around to watching this one. Like I'd like to go and watch them. I don't think I remember from the sequels is Bobcat showing up again. No, but like as a kid, this was one of the when I saw a movie. Let me back up because I was getting not to make any sense whatsoever. When I was a kid and HBO and when HBO was a thing, like, and one of the main reasons why it wasn't a thing in my house after a while was because the shit that I ended up watching. Police Academy was one of them. I was obsessed with this fucking movie as a kid. I thought Ditter that did the voices, like the sound effects and shit, I thought he was the coolest fucking thing in the world. I used to practice doing that kind of shit all the time because of how cool it was. Man, because think about how cool it'd been to be like a kid and be able to throw your fucking voice to sound like weird shit. You know, that's cool. And then like I also like had like I don't know. I learned that I really like chicks that are really tough.
Yeah.
From this movie as well.
I
Hot Cop.
love America.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh. Look her, she is even now. Woo.
Oh yeah, she's still beautiful now. Hey, Melissa.
Melissa.
And one thing I want to acknowledge, do you remember back in the day in the 80s, Warner Brothers movies, when they brought them out on video, they had those fancy cases, almost like the Disney movies, how they used to have the cases that opened up.
The big heavy plastic ones?
Yeah, Warner Brothers did that with movies back in the 80s.
The clamshells.
And real artwork.
Real.
I love movies that had that real artwork, like that you could see down there at like the Indiana Jones movies, the Star Wars movies, how they had actual artwork instead of like the floating heads and shit like we have today. I did want to acknowledge that now that I was thinking about it. Sorry.
Yeah, all the Police Academy films I think had really good artwork. I'm not sure where it stopped at, but for at least the first four, I think they had similar artwork to what you see below, and I like that kind of style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. And favorite characters, mine's Harris.
Oh, for sure.
I wish I could like if there was like any character to play. I don't know. I doubt I could pull it off as well as G.W. Bailey. I know I couldn't pull it off as well as G.W. Bailey, but that would be a really fun character to play, I think.
I always like the Harris and Lassard interactions.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Lassard always cracked me up. He always kind of reminded me of Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He's a bad father.
I think whenever I was younger, like kind of like
Leslie Nielsen.
Like Chuck was saying, I watched this a lot when I was a kid. It was one of those ones where you could get away with watching it because it wasn't like that bad, I think. And it's just so goofy.
I mean, it had some stuff in it, but
it does, but it's not like
as
Eddie
a
Murphy
kid, you don't really.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It wasn't like Porky's. Like
yeah. Like there's no, crazy shit on here. It's just some profanity and some off-color language.
And some titties. There's some titties.
There's some titties, but nothing major.
There's some ass.
But
I
think when I was a kid, my favorite was always Tackleberry because he was so over the top crazy, and I was like, yeah this guy's fucking nuts. I love it. But then like when I got older and watched it more, I was kind of in the same boat with you, Dave, where Harris and Proctor, especially, once they get together later on in the films, those guys are my favorites by far.
You love to hate them.
Yeah, they're just such a good comedy duo, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we'll focus more on the first one right now.
And starting off, like back up a little bit at the premise of the movie is that I don't think they say the name of the city, do they?
No.
I thought they did. I just can't. They don't?
I don't think so.
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I missed it, but it's a metropolitan city, and the mayor, due to, I guess, between lack of police force and rise of crime, the academy has to take any application they have to take.
Bitch!
They can wash you out, but they have to take you. And I saw a documentary on this or a special feature or something that said that's how the movie actually came to be.
Yeah.
Is the producer was doing a movie, The Right Thing, I believe, and he was in San Francisco, and he noticed like all the cops in the area was such a diverse group of people, and he kind of asked the sergeant like, "Well, you know, what's going on with all these different shapes and sizes of police officers?" So they told him, "Yeah, we have to take anybody that applies to the police force. We have to take."
Yeah, I think it was Hugh Wilson. I think it was the director, Hugh Wilson, who was out there, and I think there was some kind of like protest or something major going on where they just had to bring in a bunch of people because they were short, and they just took anybody. And I think it was also part of them trying to accommodate. They wanted it to be like more equal and more fair, so that anybody could apply, and that you didn't discriminate against anybody because of any type, you know, size, shape, weight, you know, height, color, age, any of that shit. So, yeah,
Hi, Sarah.
Hugh Wilson.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say, hey Sarah, I can't see the bottom of my screen where I'm having to use my phone, so I'm having to like see it with what pops up there. So I'm not ignoring you, Sarah. Hi, go.
All right. We'll make sure we read the chat then. We don't want you to miss the chat. I'm sure this will be fun conversation tonight. But then I guess the creators of the film thought it would be funny if wonder if those cadets were determined to push all the way through. They were trying to wash them out, but what if they made it? What would happen if this group of misfits made it all the way through? And you get Police Academy. And there
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we're done.
And all these characters, you know, of course, Steve Guttenberg, who's I think part 4 was the last one he did.
Yeah.
How many are there?
7. There was 7 films. Yes, 7 films, a short-lived TV series, a cartoon.
I remember the cartoon.
Yeah, so do I. I think I had Harris and Tackleberry. I think
The figures.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I did or not until I was looking into it the other day, and when I was looking into stuff and I was finding the movie, and I saw a bunch of clips and like stills and stuff of the cartoon, and I was like, wait a minute, I do remember that show. And I remember that because I remember I had the figures and stuff too. It's kind of crazy because I hadn't thought about it in years, man. I had to find some episodes of that.
The TV show was like it was okay, but it wasn't great.
No.
I hadn't watched the TV shows. Just the
We had all the
cartoon.
episodes on YouTube.
Was
Oh boy.
Michael Winslow was he the only
Yeah,
cast
he was the
member?
only one.
Yeah,
and
he
then,
was
I think Bubba Smith came in and did one episode in season 1, and that was about it.
R.I.P. Bubba Smith.
Hey, R.I.P. to what's his name too? Crazy dude that Mike was talking about.
David
Heck,
Graff.
David Graff.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, I was like that guy too.
George Gaines is gone.
Marion Ramsey passed away
Hooks.
too.
Yes. Yeah.
Another great character. And all these characters, it's good writing because they all have their own little arcs that, you know, at the end, Hooks, quiet little Hooks, finds her voice in the end. Don't move, dirtbag.
It's a good scene. It really is. Yeah. And there's something else also, like with talking about that, some of the character development and stuff. You don't get that. It goes back to what we talked about 1,000 times before. You don't get that development like you did back in the day. You know what I mean? In movies these days. Because like these days, like, okay, well, so and so, here's this quick little thing and blah blah blah, whatever. But like you don't really know, like, am I supposed to like them? Am I supposed to care? I don't really care. You end up leaving a movie like not giving a fuck with the characters because they don't even bother going into it. All the characters in Police Academy, like you know something about them, like you like them, like you want to like them, like you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you feel bad for some of them, like you know you're rooting for like some of them, like you know, it's just yeah. Because I know what I was watching, I was like, man, they really don't like make you even give a shit about the characters anymore in movies. Nah, that's my little take on that. I
mean, you know, it's an underdog story at its core. You know, we were just talking about this whenever we did Major League. You know, whenever in Major League they just grab a bunch of the baseball players that nobody gave a shit about and threw them together hoping to lose, and they overcame. And it's similar in this, where you got all kinds of different characters from all different walks of life that are trying to join the academy, and they're just trying to get rid of them. They're like, no, we don't want this shit, but we have to accept them, but we're going to try to get them out of here because we don't want them ultimately. So it's like you have like Mahoney, who's just a troublemaker, and he has a friend in the police force who's like trying to look after him because he was friends with his dad, and he's like, look, this is your last shot, and they're offering this opportunity to the academy, and I want you to go. Either that or you go to jail. So it's like he's got an ultimatum, and he's like, all right, I got to do it. And that's where he meets Jones at the police station, and you got like Fackler, who's just a guy who always wanted to be a part of the police squad and just couldn't cut it. And so he's leaving his wife and going to join the academy. Obviously, she didn't approve because she's jumping on the hood of his car and trying to stop it.
You're like, why is it you joining the police academy? Damn.
You got Tackleberry, who was the security guard and wanted to be in the force, and is finally getting his shot. And like I said, just all kinds of different characters, and they're all kind of underdogs. And that kind of story, if you do it correctly and you have good writing, and you can develop these characters where the audience likes them and is rooting for them, then you've got a hit.
Sure. Exactly. And that's why a lot of movies, like, you don't really know. You don't know what direction you're supposed to be pulled, because there isn't enough thought, into that aspect.
Mahoney, you could easily fall in that trap where you don't like him. But
right.
Mahoney in the end, he's one that started off bucking authority. In the end, he becomes authority.
It's interesting though that now that you mentioned that, I was like, I don't know if I know anyone that's ever said my favorite character is Mahoney. I'm sure there's people out there, but I don't know anybody personally. Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't my favorite, but he's a good character though.
Oh, he's a good character.
He always reminded me of like my cousin when we were younger. Like, he always been able to pull and shit,
Real smart ass.
Yeah, as a kid, I was like chucking like Michael Winslow. Then as I got older, I fell towards Harris.
Yeah,
dude, just so good.
Steve, played by Steve Guttenberg, who was hugely popular in the '80s. I mean, he came out with hit after hit. But the producers considered Michael Keaton, Tom Hanks, Judge Reinhold for the role of Mahoney, and Bruce Willis actually auditioned for the part.
Yeah.
I could see the first two, but not the other two.
Right. I think Guttenberg was the perfect choice.
Yeah.
He's actually been popping up in my feeds on stuff a lot lately. You got some book out, I guess, about like taking care of his dad.
Yeah, he's Mr. Positive now.
Yeah,
like time I watch one of his shorts, I'm like, man, let's go.
Yeah, I see a lot of in the gym and shit.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the guy. Like, I'm glad he's still there trying to get his name out there doing shit, especially stuff like that. But he was in a few movies that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. Short Circuit, and I always have trouble remembering the movie. But we've talked about it here before. It's got the guys. What is it?
It was a High Spirits, I think it was called.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
I mean, Short Circuit was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. And Harris was in Short Circuit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Small World.
I thought Chuck was going to say Cocoon was one of his favorites.
Oh, I forgot about Cocoon.
Oh, Cocoon.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The Boyfriend School.
Cocoon. Man, that movie as a kid, I was a big fan of it. That Short Circuit and all that shit. It was like they all came. They were always on like back to back on HBO and shit when I was a kid. And those movies just made me, huh?
The Diabetes Man.
Yeah. Like I do remember. Like,
oh no, Wilford.
Yeah. Shit. At that time though, when I saw that like. I remember him from that TV show he was on. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but it was like some like family drama show. My mom used to fucking watch it.
Was he on
I know what you're
that Michael Landon shit?
It wasn't Michael Landon.
Shit, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
It was a family in a big White House, and it had. I'm pretty sure it had. Oh fuck, Rick, dude, that was like in the last couple of seasons of NYPD Blue. If you remember that show.
Rick Schrader?
Yeah,
Schroeder?
I think he was in it. Maybe, possibly. I think he was in it.
Silver Spoons?
I used to love that show.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that shit because I can't.
Rick
It's
Schrader
been
now,
so
I
long.
always just think it's 24.
There was like a friend who was like he's kind of like geeky. He was like tall, lanky, glasses. I don't know. There was at that time period that they were in every fucking
The Waltons?
show. No.
Our House?
No, but, huh?
Our House, the Waltons.
Which one was our house?
Cat, help.
Hello.
It was him and Shannon Doherty was one of the kids.
Maybe that's the show I'm thinking of.
I can't remember the other people. They I don't think they ended up doing too much.
I don't know. I remember it though. Somewhat. I remember it existed. I can't say I really remember it per se, but you know. I used to watch all kinds of goofy shit because my mom would be watching it like while she was like folding clothes.
I still watch all kinds of goofy shit.
So do I. I don't know why I'm trying to act like I don't.
I was watching some crazy shit earlier called fucking what was that shit called? Todd and the Book of Pure Evil or some shit.
Oh yeah. I watched like the first. It was like the first. It's a show, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fucking
I watched the first episode of it a while
It's got
back.
Jason Mewes in it.
It's got the dude from Scrubs, right? Also,
Zach Braff?
Maybe. Never watched Scrubs.
Scrubs.
Never,
Yeah,
I always
it's the same
get-
guy
I always
who's-
get mixed. I've never seen Scrubs and I've never seen The Office.
oh, you've seen Surviving the Game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that ends up, he decides that he's done with it after he gets captive by Ice-T, and Ice-T is like, hey, dude, I'm not the guy that you will think I am. The guy's like, oh, I'm done with this shit. And they kill him. Do you remember that guy in that movie?
Thanks. You just ruined it.
No, he's not in it.
Okay.
You're
I don't
thinking of Stan vs. Evil.
that, okay. All right. I was wondering.
Yeah, it ain't that guy.
Richard said Todd rules German herpes.
No, thank you.
Well, Marcy had the German herpes.
What?
9.
Anyway, Police Academy. That's a good movie.
But yeah, this put Gutenberg on the map. You know, after this, it was like 3 men and a baby.
I forgot
Oh,
about that.
duh. Yeah.
Holy
That's right.
shit.
Another one.
The
Another one.
beginning
You
of
know.
this shit, but this fucking movie is great.
That was such a weird time because it was like 3 men and a baby was huge. I think Look Who's Talking was right around that same time. Like all these baby movies. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
They did a short-lived TV show on TGIF called Baby Talk, which was horrible. Everyone tried to cash in on that.
My dad used to work for an affiliated show with ABC, and I vaguely remember that, and it was not good.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Okay.
They're babies.
And Kim Cattrall shows up in the first Police Academy.
Looking gorgeous as ever.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh,
When is her first film?
Was it?
was it her first film?
She did like a lot of soap opera shit before this.
Yeah.
I could see her being a soap star.
This was the this was the reason why Mannequin ended up being something I watched as a young kid, because I saw the Police Academy before I saw Mannequin, and I was like, oh, it's that one chick. I have to watch it. And you know what? I watched Mannequin a few months back, and I still love that movie. Just saying.
She was, oddly enough, she was in Porky's. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was
That's
81,
dope.
so that was 3 years before.
Yeah.
So
It's been a while since that.
small role. You know, it's a bunch of small stuff, like you said, TV, and then Porky's, Police Academy, and then Big Trouble.
And then after that, she disappeared, kind of.
Well, there was like Sex in the City.
Did Mannequin? She did a bunch of shit.
I don't know. A lot of the shit that she's in, I ain't really into.
Well, no.
You don't
That sounds like
Sex-
such a Samantha thing to say. No.
You don't like Sex in the City?
I'm clipping that.
You've all seen Bruno, right?
Yeah.
That's what that. Yeah.
Saw it once.
I hate that fucking movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw
He's
it
talking
once.
about Sex in the City.
I'm telling you, I'm not a big fan of the Bruno by any means.
I hate
But
that movie.
I swear to God, that movie, this is the one scene that cracks me up every fucking time when he's like, I got my exclusive interview with Harrison Ford. And all it is him walking up to Ford to ask a question, and Ford goes, fuck off. And that's it.
I just remember, like, my buddy was like, "Hey, I rented this movie, gotta watch it," and it's like like in between scenes, there's like spinning dicks, like on a like. I'm just like, what am I watching right now? I don't like that other fucking movie that guy did. What the fuck?
Chuck's like, I don't know what I'm watching, but I'm suddenly hungry.
Got a hankering for some hot dogs.
Is that a good lead in to talk about the Blue Oyster?
Yeah,
Damn
terrifying.
song gets stuck in your head, man, and that's a song you don't want to be like whistling out in public.
Why? Great song. It's catchy.
That's either the main theme from Police Academy or the Blue Oyster theme are just they'll get stuck in your head for days.
And it's just like a riff. You know, as soon as like you go into that, oddly enough, anytime anybody goes in that bar, that song is playing.
Right?
Every time.
It's like the fucking cantina from Star Wars.
When they end up back in that bar at the end of it, it always cracks me up. Like I don't know, because it comes right back on, and you're like, oh, that's hilarious. I don't know. That fucking movie, man. Like the movies of our childhood.
They're asking for the address. Like, what's the address of the Blue Oyster? And Proctor knows it right away.
Yeah, it's just, what, the second one?
They're all looking at him like, what? Anyway.
I need to go back and rewatch the sequels because I have not seen those a lot longer.
Just watch the first 4. After that, it gets kind of meh.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
And other than Kim Cattrall's character, the only 2 characters that only showed up in Police Academy 1 were Leslie Barbara and George Martin.
I'm just regular old George Martin.
I just use the accent to get the girls.
He's the one character that I probably could have done without. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he brought anything to the table.
The only good part was like, in the beginning, whenever fucking he shows up with like the 3 chicks or 4 chicks or whatever in his car, like whenever like Gooch starts talking to him, and he's like, "We should be friends." He's like, "I find you an interesting guy," and he's like, "Hopefully I'm out of here by noon." And he's like, "So you're just joining the police academy just to get kicked out?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're a pretty interesting guy yourself."
Like, what the fuck's this guy's deal?
And that's like that part when they're in formation like that. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It cracks me up every time when they cut to Harris in front of Hooks and he just goes, "What in the hell are you doing here?" It just makes me laugh every time.
I want to be a police officer.
What? I can't hear you. Don't unpack.
That guy always cracked me up too.
Today, Hooks, today.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
I mean, cause like as a kid, I just thought he was playing the same character in Mannequin too. Like, I was like, oh, so he just like is how this is just like crossover? Because you know, like when you're a kid, you see like different characters in like movies, and like together, like, oh, it's the same guy.
Richard said, when I was a kid, everyone had a Michael Winslow impression.
And it sucked.
Yeah.
Mine was always from Spaceballs. Nothing from this movie.
I think wasn't he going on tour? Wasn't he going on tour a few years ago? Like,
Yeah, he's still active. He's still
yeah,
active.
Yeah, he played at the place I work at like 10 years ago.
a company that does like sound effects and stuff for like apps and all kinds of TV and everything like that. So
Man,
yeah,
made
he's
an
got
entire
stuff out there.
career out of that. It's crazy.
Started out in Cheech and Chong.
Oh yeah.
Michael Winslow, man, he's the shit.
And the other character, Leslie Barbara, that's one that it
Donovan
was good
Scott.
for that film, but I don't think there was anything left to tell after that. So
I mean, they
see
kind of
why.
replaced him in the second one with Mahoney's partner,
Yeah.
stinky guy.
Yeah.
What was his name? I forget.
I don't remember.
He has like a bowl of cereal in front of him,
That's
and he
fucking
yells at the cat for
shit.
shitting in it. In the litter box, and proceeds to eat it.
Yeah.
And he goes,
I have to go back and watch that.
That's peanut butter. I like peanut butter.
Vinny?
That's the Crunch Bar.
So gross.
Oh, that's
Hey,
bad.
stinky.
Disgusting.
I just like the beginning of this movie whenever it starts out and like you first like see Tackleberry fucking doing security shit, and then like they're having this big going away party for him, and then he just opens up this fucking door for the surprise party and you just hear shots.
He just opens fire.
The lights come on and everybody's just scared shitless.
Yeah, opens fire in a dark room.
And then when they're doing target practice, they're panning down, everybody's firing. Then boom! Everybody's ducking. Son, where did you get this gun?
My mother gave it to me.
Mind if I borrow it for a little
Yeah.
fucking dirty hairy hand cannon? What the fuck?
There's a shooting course and he's just like everybody's like kind of sketched out and then the fucking teacher's like follow me. Then he grabs the fucking shotgun and he's like, come with me. And then he goes running off through the fucking buildings and shooting the shit out backwards and.
Yeah, fucking firing everywhere.
There's two bits. You were just mentioning Donovan Scott, who plays Leslie Barbara. There's two bits. The one where Tackleberry's like in his room and he's all fucking hyped up and he's like, and Barbara walks in and he's like, hit me. And he wants him to hit him in the stomach. And then like Barbara's like, oh no, I don't want, he's real reluctant to do it. And he's like finally like yells at him and Barbara just slaps him. And he's like, is that good? He's like, yeah. And then where you were just talking about the rifle range or wherever they're doing the scene, and Barbara starts walking out with the gun and it accidentally goes off, and then he turns around. Everybody ducks except Tackleberry, and it cracks me up every time because he's just like, nope, no sells it.
Tackleberry.
So fucking good.
So many good characters.
David Graff nailed Tackleberry, man.
He fucking goes into his room and starts unloading all these fucking guns out of
like
his
a
bag
machete and fucking all this shit. He's got knives strapped to his fucking ankles.
Mahoney, you're with Tackleberry. Thank you, sir. I always want to live with a psycho.
When they're first showing him this room, Harris calls Tackleberry, and Tackleberry like pushes his way through the line and goes, "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." And Harris just has his look on his face like, "Jesus fucking Christ."
The rest of you wimps come with me, and then fucking Hightower's like, wimps.
Yeah, let's not forget Hightower.
Yeah.
So
The heart and soul.
Flowers and shit.
Yeah, Good old Bubba Smith, man. Former football player.
I even watching, going back and watching this, like I remember even being a kid feeling bad like for him at the end, like towards the end of it, when like he stands up for old girl because they're being shitty to her.
Yeah.
And he had every right to like do what he did. And then like it's right before he was like all proud because he's passing and all that shit. It's like, I don't know. You still feel bad for the guy. Like
He said the only reason why he wasn't in part 7 was because they wrote out Hook, so he was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Huh, I didn't know that.
So he had her back from the very beginning until the end.
In real life too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There you go.
And a lot of people criticize that scene, where they're doing the road test or whatever, and she runs over what's his face's feet, and then he yells a racial slur at her, and Bubba Smith stands up for her, and she, Marion Ramsey, was saying how like that was one of her favorite scenes because she had never seen a black man stand up for a black woman in a film like that before. And it just meant so much to her, you know, in so many ways. So a lot of people are just like, oh, it's off color because of the language and the racial and stuff. But it's like, no, they like that's part of the story. You're not just doing it to be racist, you know. It's these characters. You're showing that the characters of like I think it was Copeland was the one who said it. That these guys are assholes. Even earlier in the film, you see it where Copeland's talking to the other guy. Oh, shit, I can't remember his name. But he's talking to him, and he says something. He's like, "Oh, there's a bunch of whatever here," you know, and insert racial slur. And right that time is when Bubba Smith's character Hightower puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, and he looks over, and he's like you know that Hightower heard him say that, but Hightower was a good enough man to where he wasn't gonna let that get the best of him. He wasn't gonna, you know, give in to that and do anything to that guy. But then later on, he pushes it too far because he's got to stand up for Hooks, and you know it sucks, but it's like it shows you the integrity that character had. Like I said, Hightower was like the heart and soul of all these new recruits, and it was like you could always count on Hightower for whatever. Yeah, and I think that's what they were trying to tell with the story. And it's like, you know, even though he's dealing with these racist assholes, he's willing to do the right thing. So
the car scene. Well, why don't you just take out the seats and just like sit in the back? No, see, I was just kidding.
But this is good. This is good.
The thing is, even that's those douchebags' car. And what's in the front of the car?
The other guy that was with Copeland, his name was Blanks.
That's right.
And they were like the two gung ho guys trying to like kiss ass. So as soon as they fucking get there and they go up to fucking what the hell is his name? Hurst. He's like Blanks reporting for duty, sir. He's like, get the fuck away from me.
Get away from me, you asshole.
Yes, sir.
Because it's so funny. It like because he's like they pull up and he's telling his buddy, he's like, oh, there's the I can't remember. He's the chief. He's the captain. He's the captain, right?
The captain?
I can't remember the fucking
because he wasn't in it a whole lot.
Lassard was the commandant.
Yeah, and Chief Harry Hurst.
Sure, first. Okay. So yeah. They pull up and he goes, oh, there's the chief. And you think like he knows him or something like that. He's acting like, oh yeah, I know this guy. And as soon as he walks over to him, he's like, get away from me, you asshole. Like these guys are just brown nosers and fucking pieces of shit, you know, that are trying to act like they're big shots.
Yeah.
Go to the
barber scene.
Yeah.
This isn't the army, guys.
Just take it all off.
You can do that? Just trim up the sides.
Yeah, they're just scum, and they got what was coming. And I don't know how they were on the police force because in the end, it was their weapons that got stolen by the
the
riders, the mob,
whatever he was. And at the end, it's who saves the day? Hightower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that time when Hightower got kicked off, like you said, he's the heart and soul. You know, they're fighting amongst themselves. Everybody's down and out. Everyone's defeated because the heart and soul left. Yeah. And even like Leslie says, if anybody could have made it, it would have been Hightower out of all of us. And at the end, he saves the day and got a medal and reinstated.
You guys say a few words.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And when I was a kid, the whole part with the podium went over my head. I had to be a little bit older to understand that one.
Yeah, no shit. Like, what is going on? Like, oh yeah.
I mean,
I forgot about it until rewatching.
I didn't know what was happening.
I think that's the most famous scene.
And then when Lassard at the end of it,
he played it so well.
He looks like he's just like, and it's like, oh shit. But then Gutenberg's cheating on his girlfriend at that point.
It's true.
And then Mahoney sticks his head out.
That's why she doesn't come back.
Oh yeah, when I originally had when the shit happens to Lassard, And like,
because he's like walking away, like, what the fuck just happened? And he turns around and Mahoney pokes his head out, like, oh my god.
When him and Kim Cattrall are making out, he's like, you men stop that. And he goes, oh.
Whenever he goes into Harris's office and he's like, Mahoney must be stopped. And he's like, what did he do, sir? He did a
very, very bad thing.
Very bad thing.
To whom?
To whom?
When he's driving his golf cart, he drives his golf cart right into the bushes. He's just so like, what the fuck just happened?
Is that your first year? Oh, it's friends.
So, well, you know what I mean?
Easy.
Yeah, I can see.
We want to see the movie with both those guys.
Very bad thing.
What was the star's name? George Gaynor?
George Gaines.
Gaines.
And he's like a well-known theater actor. You know, he's like a very serious actor before all this, and I think that's what makes it even that much more funny. Where it's you got this straight-laced type person who's playing such an off-the-wall character. I think he was even kind of hesitant about that scene with the podium. What the fuck?
I don't know. I just like whenever Harris has the shoe polish around his mouth for doing the bullhorn thing, because whenever you like see him laughing, like that's genuine laughter. Like he's fucking losing his shit. Like, he's literally cracking the fuck up.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Man, but it really is one of those special movies. I mean, it really is. It's one of those classics that even if I haven't watched it in so long, watching it again, like I was a kid all over again watching it. Man. I forgot how much I really enjoy that. Like, really do enjoy that movie. It's like I love when we go back and revisit these films where I haven't seen them forever, but as a kid they were like staples in like what I watched. The original Police Academy movie I watched multiple times. There was another one that I watched all the time. No, it was another Police Academy movie, and I can't remember which one it was, but it's like when the dude gets locked out of the fucking room when he's butt ass naked. Which one is that? Is that 2?
I think that's the third
one.
The third one.
Proctor gets locked out of the room.
Is the Blue Oysters in that too? Isn't it?
Or was that the fourth one? Yeah, he wanders into the Blue Oyster.
Well, because Bowser
gets
that's
right. He's naked. That's right.
And then Proctor gets locked out.
And then he's covering himself with a trash can lid. And then he drops trash can lids and they all start clapping as that music's playing.
As a kid, that scene gave me anxiety because I was like, "That's horrible." I couldn't imagine being in that situation. But I was like, "This is terrifying."
It's kind of like reminds you of like the Rick Moranis dog scene in Ghostbusters, but worse.
Yeah, way worse.
Put those scenes together,
right? You have to.
All right, who brought the dog? So
this fucking movie, like, I must have watched this movie probably like 10 times since we talked about doing it like 3 weeks ago. Since we've been in hiatus.
Right.
Needed a break.
And I watched mostly clips from the sequels, mostly Zed stuff.
Zed's too funny.
Yes, Bobcat Goldthwait, introduced in the second one.
Was he a bad guy? He was a
Yeah.
When did he come back? When did he come back as
the third one?
Third one.
Okay, it was the third. All right. So I guess the first and the third one were the ones that I watched the most of. But I do remember him being like when they're like when he was a bad guy, like there was like a cave or some shit.
Yeah,
that's the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this. Like,
when he gets suspended and then he goes undercover to try to find this gang. It has I forget the dude's name, but he was in the teacher from Head of the Class. And he was like the chief.
Oh,
that they were at.
Yeah, I think he was his brother, wasn't he? He was
Sarge's brother or nephew. No, nephew was the sixth one or fifth one.
You talking about the guy that was in
WKRP
in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Dr. Detroit.
Yeah.
My dad always loved that show.
That guy.
And the second one came out a year later in 1985 with a budget of $7.5 million and made $115 million. Still in the hundreds.
That's still kind of rough, though. I mean, good, though, in a way, because most sequels that come out that quick don't do well.
Yeah, they
also over the time, though.
It's true. But, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I think RoboCop 3 came out like a year after the second one, and that was garbage.
Yeah, they used to bring out the Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th every year, too.
Yeah.
Back
RoboCop 3, God, what a fucking letdown that movie was.
Pumped them out in the 80s. Can't go wrong.
And this is when we start with the sequels as the budget goes up, but the box office starts to slowly go down. As the third one had a budget of $12 million and brought in $107 million, so still in the hundreds, still successful. And then they slowly start to take a turn. Fourth one was the one with the hot air balloons. You remember that one? Oh, that was the one David Spade was in too.
Yeah,
David
skateboard kid.
Yeah, David Spade and Sharon Stone were in the fourth one.
Okay, all right. I remember Sharon Stone being one of them, but I don't remember shit about that movie though.
Yeah, they were like David Spade and his buddy. I think it was the guy that was he was in wasn't he in Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Dude, I couldn't even.
But that one was always one of my favorite ones.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch these fucking movies.
Part 4 is probably about my favorite.
Really? Okay.
That's why I say you just gotta watch the first 4 and you're good. Like after that, they end up replacing Mahoney with some other dude who's like the Sarge's nephew, and it's just not good.
Badly. We'll get here in a second.
They kind of went the Saved by the Bell, the college years, or the new generation, like kind of like route, didn't they? Where it's like, oh, let's have these characters that are somewhat closer, just like the originals, and hope it does something good.
Yeah, they kind of kept trying to do that with 3 and 4 and 5. They kept trying to, and they just couldn't. I don't know. They just couldn't seem to get it.
Is Hurts and all? Is he in all those? Right.
I think he's in the first 3.
He's still alive.
He's probably in 4. Now that I think about it, he might be in 4.
And part 4 had a budget of $17 million and brought in $76 million. So part 4 was the first one to not hit the $100 million mark.
That's terrible. That's one of my favorites.
Well, I mean,
I like that one a lot.
If you kind of think about the time period, if you think of the time period when these movies were like coming out, like there was a lot of hate for like that's kind of like there was a lot of police hatred around when some of these sequels are coming out. So people didn't want to see a movie about the police, no matter if it was a comedy or not. I think that probably had something to do with it too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And bringing them out every year like that, it's just it's way too much.
They do that too much. They always do that with franchises and shit. It's like, give us a couple of years. Don't give us beyond like fucking 8 years, because then we don't give a shit anymore. Right. And then it's probably gonna suck. You know.
And part 5 is when we start the trend of like a lot of movies do, is they change the location. They don't go to space.
Miami Beach.
Yeah, this was
the one where that's always a death sentence too for franchises.
I always figured the first one had to be somewhere like either West Coast or like New York, all because they in the second one Mahoney's on a beach because he's driving the 3-wheeler, and that dude, he's like, "There's someone tearing up my beach." He's like, "Who's that?" He's like, "You."
Me.
I don't even remember. That's funny.
Get out of here.
And the fifth one, in case you wondered, had a budget of $14 million and brought in $54 million. So we're really dropping off now.
Yeah. Falling off the saddle.
And with part 6, oh boy. Believe it or not, had a budget of $15 million. Brought in $33 million.
Hey.
I remember my dad took me to go see the 6th one, and there was one other person in the theater. I was so offended by that.
And then what, Mission to Moscow was straight to video?
Oh, Mission to Moscow. Oh, boy.
I
Mission to Moscow.
Chuck's like, what?
Came out a few years later in 1994. Believe it or not, had a budget of $10 million. Had a limited release in the U.S. and brought in $126,000. Ouch.
It's kind of like when, when the Brady Bunch took a vacation. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Mission to Moscow had both Christopher Lee and Ron Perlman.
It's true.
And did
What?
terrible.
Who did Christopher Lee play that?
Probably
The
some-
late great Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. I think he was a Russian mafia boss or something.
That's what Perlman was too. I don't know about.
Oh
boss, but
no,
he
I'm
was-
sorry. Christopher Lee was the commandant, the Russian commandant. Do they call them commandants over there too? I don't know. That's what it says though.
Maybe I don't
Ambassador.
know. Perlman
that-
was the
That's an episode we need to do. We need to have a Christopher Lee night, just for the record, because that guy was probably one of the biggest badasses in fucking like film ever. And yeah, his movies are good too. And also the fact that like he was him, in my opinion, he's my favorite Dracula. No offense to Lugosi, but Christopher Lee, man.
Oh my God, I'm terrible.
He's my favorite.
I
Sith.
should be fired. Leslie Easterbrook, the beautiful Leslie Easterbrook, who I went for years not realizing that she was the mother in The Devil's Rejects.
What?
I went for a couple years not knowing that.
Yeah, it kind of it threw me off too when I found out who she was. I was like, oh shit, it's Hot Cop.
I think I listened to the director's commentary or something, and Rob Zombie said that. And I was like, oh shit.
I thought she was hot in Devil's Rejects. So I mean, whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know, it didn't really surprise me. I was like, this makes sense in the attraction. I found it about, whatever with this woman. Anyway.
Now who's gonna save me?
Everybody jumps.
Oh my
in.
God.
Oh shit.
Well, I like the first one too. Whenever she's doing like the self-defense demonstration, and he flips her over and like jumps on their shoulders, and they're like her crotch is right in their face. Like, who's next?
Yeah.
And they're like,
That's me.
All right, man. Oh.
we can go at the same time. We can go.
Yeah.
Michael
Flip me
Winslow.
over, man.
That's just great. And then whenever they're fucking doing self-defense shit, and Tackleberry is going up behind Harris, and he's like, "Drop the TV, asshole! Or I'm gonna shoot your nuts off."
That's good.
Oh, your goddamn nuts off.
Have a seat.
This movie's so fucking good.
So good.
The first four, so good.
Yeah, I think the first four is about all I'm going to do. I don't think I could go watch other shit.
I don't think I'd want to anyway.
It's like Surf Ninjas. It's like, how many Surf Ninjas movies do you need to have? You know what I mean? Like, well, they get to a certain point where there's like nobody from the original movies. You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe Surf Ninjas was a bad example, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so they have these movies like, oh, they're good, blah, blah. Like, let's change everybody.
Yeah, we went from talking babies to ninjas after Ninja Turtles came out. What was that? Three Ninjas was another.
Three Ninjas.
I was trying to think of the one Hulk Hogan was in one of the sequels too.
Fucking-
it was one of the Three Ninjas.
Yeah.
I only remember the first. Well, I remember the first, but I remember I've seen the first two. I was in the after-school program, and that was one of the movies that we were able to watch anytime we wanted to, and everybody wanted to watch that constantly.
Oh God.
Yeah, Three Ninjas.
The first one was all right. Whenever I was a kid, I liked it.
That's a fun one.
Egg Shen.
The diarrhea scene with the fucking Coke. Oh my God. I'm going to have to. Dax hasn't seen that movie yet. I'm going to have to. He'll get a kick out of that shit.
What were the kids' names? Tum Tum, Colt, and something.
Tum Tum.
Tum
Oh
Tum
God. Yeah.
One kid was Tum Tum, the other kid was Colt, and there was the other one.
Dum Dum.
He always ate fucking candy, so they called him Tum Tum.
But yeah, Mahoney's replacement in part 5, I kind of feel bad for the guy because that's a really shitty position to be in. I'm trying to look up his name.
Yeah, I can't remember who did it.
Matt McCoy was his name.
What?
Matt McCoy was the actor's name.
What else was he in?
That's a different question altogether.
I know I've seen him in other stuff, but I can't. Oh, he attended the University of Maryland.
Well, I'll be.
There you go.
Go
MD.
He was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, he was the dad, right?
Yeah.
Rock the cradle of love.
And a bunch of TV.
Ow. Rock.
It's so obvious, like the pranks, the personality. I mean, it was so obvious they're just trying to clone Mahoney, and it's like, why didn't you just make a whole new character if he's not going to be in it?
It goes back to my Saved by the Bell, the new class like analogy. It's the same thing. It's like you have the same like type of character who is basically Zach Morris. You have Screech. You have Jesse. You have all the same characters, but they're not the same characters. So nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
You know what I mean? And they do that, and they've done that shit so many times in different franchises, especially in comedy franchises.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, we're just getting lazy now. And I mean, especially after the cartoon and all that came out, they were targeting kids, so the gags got more cartoonish. You know, it was the sequels were a far cry from the original.
The original's just a classic, man. I mean, you can't really beat it. You really can't.
Were you talking about how Mauser replaced Harris?
Yeah, and he was different. You know, he wasn't like a clone of Harris, I don't think.
Who is okay?
An asshole.
Yeah.
Man, I really can't think of these
2 and
guys.
3, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Then Harris came back, and Harris and Proctor. Oh man, that's just perfect.
That was the best mashup ever.
That's why I'm so surprised. I think it said on Rotten Tomatoes that Police Academy 4 has like one of the lowest ratings out there. I think there was like a 0% at one point or something like that.
God.
I'm like, what? I love Citizens on Patrol.
That's what I was just saying. It's probably one of my favorites.
And that was the one where yama.
That's 4.
That's 4.
Citizens on Patrol. Citizens on Patrol.
I like to tell you about the new COP program.
And that was what's the lady's name? The older lady that was with Tackleberry,
Mrs. Feldman.
That's it, Mrs. Feldman. She's a lot like Tackleberry, but she's not a clone of Tackleberry. But when he first walks into her room, it's like all camouflaged, and she's got all this shit. It's like, I admire your taste, Mrs. Feldman.
I just, he's like, let me squeeze one of them off, Tack, and then fucking Goot's like,
Tack?
She's one of those ones, like, you could almost see her being Tackleberry's mother.
Right.
Because they're so similar.
Well, then in part 2, fucking Tack starts dating his partner.
Callahan.
Her fucking parents. Or her dad and her brother.
Oh, shit. I know what you're talking about. Do they have dinner or some shit with the parents?
Yeah.
Like, okay. I do remember that. Oh my god! All the sequels are like, I'm starting to think about it, like they're kind of just bleeding together. That's
Make
funny.
it easy to watch 1 through 4 as just one movie, and it would be all right. That'd be a long day, but
Yeah,
I'd do it.
Yeah.
I mean, with the right amount of weed and whiskey, I think I could do it.
Oh, guaranteed. You can do it without it because they're just that funny.
Yeah, it just makes everything a little better.
I don't know. I still don't know if 6 would be funny. Even
No, we're saying 1 through 4.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, for sure. 5 had one good moment when he puts Dork on Harris's chest.
Oh yeah,
and everyone at the beach is going, "Hello, Dork."
That's the diamond one, right?
Hello, Dork.
I remember that too. What are some other gags?
I think we had that. I think that was one of the clips of the week.
It was.
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, that's been a minute.
Some dickhead is standing in my sun.
Yeah, Harris had a couple good moments in part 5.
That's another thing that cracks me up about Harris, man, is that he just says all kinds of weird shit. Like he's like calling people piss ants and D squad, D for dirtbag. When I say, hey, dirtbags, that means you. And it's like you don't hear it. You never hear, like at that time you never heard anybody talk like that. Like I didn't call anybody a piss ant, you know, and it's just like these like almost old timey insults that he's popping off, and it cracks me up now more than ever.
Whenever they're all online and he starts screaming dirtbags or calls Mahoney a dirtbag, and he's like, dirtbag? Whenever he's trying to get fucking Cottrell's number. Let me see those thighs.
What are you doing? Meeting women, sir.
And he's trying, and he's like, oh yeah, I need to get kicked out, blah blah blah. And then he's looking out the window and he sees her. And he's like, oh well, okay, I guess can't do it now.
Can I leave? Nope. All right, bye.
Can I leave? Nope. All right, I tried.
And he's like, now Harris is so confused, and he's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're here. You'll never be a cop as long as I live.
He's the complete, like, he's like the best definition of like a pain, like a thorn in like the authority side. You know what I mean? Like he is the Zach Morris of police again. I don't know what it is with all the Saved by the Bell references, whatever. I used to be a big fan. You know, Judge, if you want to. Okay, Kelly Kapowski was
well, I still have a good crush on Kelly.
She just gets, yeah. She gets more beautiful as time goes on. Whew. Woo.
Oh, now I feel
hurt
me. Speaking of climbing the rope, you remember that scene when Hightower goes to climb the rope and he pulls it out,
pulls it out of the ceiling. It's little gags like that are so good.
We could keep going.
You know what COP stands for? Collection of piss ants.
And then he starts laughing. He's like, "It's not funny, Proctor." No, sir. It's great.
Bubblegum, sir. Cherry, I think. Thank you, Proctor.
And what went on? A lot of dancing, sir.
Dancing? That's what, man. 4. I don't know. I think 4 is my favorite. Oddly enough, everybody could hate on it, but like I said, that's when you finally get Harris and Proctor together. There's so many like good duos in there. You got Jones and Mahoney. You got Harris and Proctor. You got Feldman and Tackleberry. You got Sweet Chuck and Zed. You got the Callahans. So many different characters that play so well off each other, and that's what I like when there's good chemistry like that. Like I've always said that I enjoy the second Beverly Hills Cop better than the first because while the first one's so good, the second one they all know each other, and it feels familiar where you can the chemistry is there and the characters just work that much better. I think
a lot of times in movies. A lot of times that goes on is like you have the first movie where you get an idea of who the main character is, and Beverly Hills Cop just as an example, brought up. Like you get a good idea of the character, and like some shit goes on. You're like, all right, cool. But when the sequel comes out, that's why it's usually like a make or break kind of situation because you're like either you're really excited about it because you're like, oh shit. This is what that's such a fucking actual public thing to do. I almost said actual words. And I don't know. Does it make sense? Like you said, familiar of it. Fuck me. You all keep going.
You both look like Gerald Ford.
But yeah, man, such a good franchise, man. How many years over? How many movies over how many years? You have that number up?
Over a little over 40 years.
No, I mean,
No.
when was the last one made though?
94.
So 10 years.
Yeah, 7 movies in 10 years. So they cranked these things out.
Yeah,
Got a lot of
Like they just beat it into the dirt. I was like, because I mean, if you have a $4 million budget and you make 150 million, like you're free rolling for a while. And it was just like boom, boom.
I think
in 94. Oh, sorry.
Around the 4th one, I think. It was somewhere around that time. Somewhere in the middle, the cartoon came out. I don't remember when the TV series came out. I think it was after. It was probably like 96-ish, maybe, somewhere around there.
I wonder if I ever saw the series. I can't remember ever seeing the series.
I'm not sure though.
I do remember. I remember the cartoon, but I remember the
series is weird.
Yeah, you said the last movie came out in 94.
Yeah,
that was a bad year.
Bad year, man.
That's a bad year. Well, I mean, there's there's a joke that I want to make, but like I don't know how to report it.
All right.
I guess Kurt Cobain wasn't the only one that blew its fucking brains out there. I guess the Police Academy series had something to do with it.
That wasn't where I thought you were going to go at all.
Well, my bad. I'm a dick. I'm sorry, Cordy loved it, but whatever. It kills the joke. The joke sucked. My bad.
Definitely way tamer than
I would like to erase that joke from the record.
We'll
So everyone watching, erase it.
Now everybody be quiet for a second. Make them uncomfortable.
Kiss my rosy red ass, Chuck Nasty.
Hi now, boy. Let me tell you.
There's Hightower again in the background.
Shit, I'm deaf.
And there he is as a florist. That's a good picture. Where'd you even find that?
The Google people.
The Google people. Look,
I'm waiting for the damn glue to dry off.
You piss ants.
It's just Hightower Central right now. Why didn't you stop?
Move it.
You didn't tell me to.
Today, hooks. Today.
I could just have a fucking field day with this thing.
No shit.
Oh, I
yeah.
It's gonna be in his car every freaking road trip now. Watch.
Yep.
Please bring it. Please bring it.
Oh, that would be so. There's some funny like videos that can be made with that shit.
Probably.
Oh, there
I'm waiting for the damn glue to wear off.
What's that
Yeah,
shirt?
if we only had that in Philly.
The dim shoot a snare off.
Shoot a snare off.
I said I have to wait for the damn glue to wear off. Was that 3 or 4? That was 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Harris wasn't in 3.
Like he gets pranked by that megaphone all the time. You think he'd quit using it?
The shoe polish.
I might
That's
watch
what you
this.
should have done. You should have had some shoe polish at the end of it.
I thought about it, but then I was like, I don't know if it'll, like, I've got my
Well, yeah.
facial hair here. I don't know if it would show up as well.
Like chocolate, melted chocolate.
Melted chocolate. That sounds delicious.
You get it. Doggy dropped it.
Oh, here's a fun fact. Did
Doggy
you know
dropped
that the person that originally auditioned for Proctor was Jerry Seinfeld?
No, I did not know that.
I
That's
could
funny.
kind of see that.
They had the same agent. So Seinfeld went out for it, and it didn't go well at all. So he passed on into what's his name? I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, which is terrible.
I think Jerry Seinfeld is probably one of the most annoying comedians ever. Why he just talks like this all the time? Whoa. It's just not funny. He's so annoying. I've watched every episode of fucking Seinfeld.
And you don't like
it's only because the reruns used to play like I said. My dad used to work for WTBQ, which is ABC affiliated channel. So every night from like fucking 4 to 6, was like you got 2 episodes of Seinfeld, 2 episodes of Mad About You. And here's a little known fact: as a kid, I really was a big fan of Mad About You. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right. Well, okay.
Helen Hunt, man, Helen Hunt.
Paul Reiser. Carter Burke, probably the most hated villain in all of cinema history.
Alien, right?
Yeah.
Piece of shit, completely.
Mm-hmm. His own mother cheered when he got killed.
I'd say Bill Paxton was supposed to be in Police Academy too, but he did Aliens instead.
Yep.
Good choice. I mean,
Right?
yeah, for sure. Good choice. But
he could have pulled it off though, either way. But
Probably just some rando.
Huh.
But his characters though would have been perfect though, the way he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he probably would have worked out with this shit. But I am glad that he did Aliens.
Yeah, really smart move, but I would like to see Bill Paxton in a Police Academy movie in some parallel universe.
Well, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Game over,
But-
man. Game over.
I mean, like he could have just done what like Michael J. Fox did with Back to the Future and Teen Wolf. He filmed those movies at the same fucking time and filming like Family Ties, like in France or some shit.
Yeah, I think he did Family Ties during the day and he did Back to the Future at night. It's like, fuck.
A lot of respect for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we need to talk more about Michael J. Fox movies. We really should.
They just showed like a picture of him and Bateman hanging out at a hockey game.
Nice.
Said the stars of Teen Wolf 1 and 2.
Oh shit, that's right. Bateman was in the second. It wasn't as good, but that original though.
It is bad. They didn't even have the same styles in it. Styles was a complete different character.
I think that I had to put Teen Wolf as another one of those, like along with like Police Academy and like Monster Squad. All these movies as a kid I just loved. Even now, Teen Wolf, like even I still love that movie. Like especially when you found out the dad's a fucking werewolf. That whole fucking thing's awesome. Anyway, we're not even talking about Teen Wolf right now.
It landed on my face.
That'd be funny if I didn't know you and you said that to me. Oh, final thoughts for Police Academy. We could go on all night about these movies, but
yeah, hopefully you're a fan of them as we are, and if you want to watch them all, only watch up to part 4.
yeah, we know there's shit going on in the real world.
I mean, 5's not terrible, but 6 and 7 aren't great.
But if anything, the original is guaranteed to make you laugh, unless you're having corn cobs stuck up your ass, and you would get offended by everything, and then you're just a whiny bitch. Because the movie is going to have things that you've never seen before. Well, people used to be offensive, and in those days, nobody bitched about it. They just had a good time with it. And this movie is definitely a good time, no matter whatever. It's good shit. It's classic. You can't beat it. It's how comedies were should have been, should be, and always should be, and they're not. It sucks.
I just want to go back and say, just don't watch part 7. I forgot 6 was the Under Siege one or whatever.
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
Under Siege.
City Under Siege.
It sounds like the Police Academy movies just ended up turning into like Hot Shots movies.
The OG.
Hot Shots Part 2 is my favorite, but whatever.
Well, there you have it. Police Academy, happy anniversary.
Well, I think I was going to say something, but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know, like we were saying, 7 movies over 10 years. I think that's a testament to, this franchise and how well it was able. Like we said, they just ran it into the ground, but these characters were able to just be zany off the wall, and you would come back for more every time. And I think if you get Super Troopers, maybe almost a decade later after Police Academy goes away, and it's insane. It's insanely popular. So these type of films, that have police doing crazy comedy, there's definitely a place for it out there where people enjoy it for whatever reason, because it's like, okay, cops aren't supposed to be funny, but then they do all this goofy shit.
They're hilarious.
Yeah. So I always thought, I remember when I watched Super Troopers, I was like, this could be the next Police Academy franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
And they botched that for whatever reason. I don't know if they never wanted to go down that road or what. But by the time they did Super Troopers 2, it was just terrible.
Man, but, yeah. First one's
I always felt that if you're doing fantasy booking, you could have done, if you did Super Troopers 1 and then Super Troopers 2 like a year later, and then at that point, I feel like it would have been time to do like a crossover where Police Academy and Super Troopers
versus each other.
Yeah, because or even made that movie itself. Because I mean, in the first one, it's the state highway patrol against the local cops. Imagine if the local cops were the Police Academy guys.
Like Steve Guttenberg's like the main guy on the other side.
You're welcome.
Yeah, see,
I mean, that
that's a
would have
great
been
idea.
Amazing.
I'm sure Gutenberg would love the paycheck.
Oh, I'd pay to see it for sure.
I would. I totally would. Even I'm not I never was a huge Super Troopers guy. Honestly, the funniest part, like the first one's good, but the only part on that really makes me crack up is the first fucking 15 minutes of that movie. Other than that, I could give two shits. But that whole part at the beginning of it, they fuck with that guy and they're tripping balls, dude. It does it. It's just the snozzberries taste like snozzberry. Like, come on, that shit's fucking great. That's just.
I'm freaking out, man.
I'm freaking out, man.
You boys like Mexico?
That's what I'm saying. It's just this zany, over the top police humor. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Did you say meow?
Meow? Right, meow? Now we got to say that for another episode.
Right. Okay. True. I'm down for that.
But yeah, such a fun franchise. I say this all the time, because these movies are fun, man. It's I don't know if anybody thinks they're offensive. I don't, there's parts that aren't as PG, but I mean,
certain people watch this movie and would definitely bitch about it. You can't deny that.
Well, it's like we said, that was a different. That was the time period,
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse it, but that's just how it was. So
it also has to do with like character development and all that shit. And then a lot of people don't like that these days for whatever reason, because how could you make somebody that horrible of a person? You don't want to like them, right? Like, are you supposed to like them or dislike them? Right. We want to make sure you don't like them at all. So we're gonna make them a piece of shit. And sometimes you have to be a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And what's the worst thing that this piece of shit could say or do? There you go.
Yeah, you want to hate the villains. You want to want to have heels, and there's ways to do it. And it's sometimes these characters reflect reality, and if you can't accept that, then I don't know. Don't watch it. Like I said, it's not for everyone all the time. Some of this stuff. So you go do you, and let everybody else do them.
You do you, boo boo. You do you.
Don't worry. Be happy.
There you go. Well said. Live and let live.
And my final thoughts on Police Academy, I would have to say, Gene made machine, and Joe made it go. Art blew a fart, and blew the whole damn thing apart. I didn't write it.
All right. And again, a very happy 40th, the original Police Academy. My gosh, we're getting old. It's crazy. But before we get out of here, it is time once again for our random clip of the week, in which we pick a random clip from a random movie and we see what happens. Let's see what happens this week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow, speaking of Michael Keaton.
Batman Returns.
What was that from?
Batman Returns.
What was that from?
Superman.
Flash? Was that the Flash?
Now all I can think of whenever I see like the light flashing in the sky and then you see the rooftop or whatever, all I can think of is Homelander standing up on top of the building jerking off.
That's all you can think about.
Yeah.
Season 3 comes out soon, right? I think I just saw something about it today.
What? Huh? Whoa, what?
What?
The Boys?
What do you? Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you gotta watch that
Check
shit.
it out.
I
My
but superheroes, but that shit's good.
I think
I know. I think I would like it because my buddy Jason, I was over at his house for a weekend, and he was like, "Dude, you have to see this scene in this fucking show." And it's where like this guy can shrink himself, and he goes into a guy's penis.
Yep.
And then he sneezes and gets, and then I was like, "Holy shit!" That's Splatterpunk if I ever fucking saw it.
How do you not just go binge watch that after seeing that?
I don't have time. I don't have time. I would if I had time, but I'm writing fucking 1,000 things at one time.
And speaking of Chuck's writing,
oh shit,
there we go.
We have an advertisement, Mr. Cole.
Cue up
To know
ad.
you bastard sons of a Judas goat, Nasty Nation, Graveyard Talk, and the Video Store Clerks Podcast. He is the creator of Stoner Gore, Chuck Nasty. And if you have a craving for extreme horror, the following titles may interest you. Thirsty, Sludge, House of Flesh, Going to Hell, Fresh Kills. All available now in Kindle and paperback, only at Amazon.com.
Hey,
excellent.
Although I think Chuck said he's pulling House of Flesh off Amazon.
Well,
right?
I was going to say House of Flesh is pulled from Amazon due to the fact that I didn't realize how many errors in that there was a lot of mistakes, and I'm getting that taken care of at this moment. So I'm hoping for a release, if anything, around October. I'm going to be re-releasing it with an intro from another author, and I'm going to put in a new story from the House of Flesh universe and put it out better than ever because it's a great story. And yeah, so yeah. Oh, and there's some new stuff coming out too. One thing actually that I got a message for on here earlier, which I'll be looking at in a minute, is I'll be looking at the new cover of my next release, which is a couple of stories from a couple of anthologies that I've had out that I've put out like a double feature. Just to, those of you who just want to read my shit or whatever. Sounds bad. But like, it's just, the two of my favorite stories I wanted to put out as their own. And so
and then
it's
you
just
also
called,
go out and get Chuck to sign the book.
Bam.
One of the signing.
it's true.
Now.
It's true. It's true. So, yeah,
So we got
Signing shit.
we got the limited edition first run of House of Flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get the next ones, it's going to be fixed and it's going to be the second installment. So this one's going to be worth a lot more money down the road.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really excited about actually getting the re-release together. Sarah, who was on here earlier, she's the one that is actually going back and editing it for me, and we're gonna clean it up real good, and I'm gonna add some more gore and sex to it, and really beef up some scenes, and hope to have a pretty good re-release coming with a new cover and everything. So,
Oh yeah.
All right.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout.
Bolo.
And before we get out here, what's going down next week?
Next week, we're going to do something relatively new. Movie was released March 22nd. Shudder original, Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil.
It's halfway to Halloween.
oh
bitches.
yeah,
Yes. Going to do some horror stuff. We look forward to that. So join us next week, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. We will be here live. We are your clerks. I'm Chief Dave.
Lieutenant Chapman.
My name is Lieutenant Leisure, in case you missed it.
My name is Bear down, bear down, bear down, bear. Bear down, bear down, bear down, bear.
Go on and get it.
Bear down, dare, dare,
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Tuesday.
What are you looking at, Peckerhead? Today, Hooks. Today.